What is up, YouTube? Welcome to We Sibs, West Coast, East Coast siblings. Today I'm at the movies. I'm about to go see Birds of Prey, and hopefully I'll be teaming up with Zach from The Basement with Zach a little later to give you kind of a more thoughtful review. Anyway, guys, let's get started. Okay, so I'm back. I saw Birds of Prey. I've had a couple of hours to digest it, kind of gather all my thoughts, and believe me, there were a lot of thoughts to be gathered. So right off the bat, for this review, I'm not going to get too much into the story as it was more or less insignificant, but what was significant is the implications that this movie will have on the DCEU at large, if not the multiverse that we got a glimpse of in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover on the CW. But before we get into my ultimate takeaways from the movie, let me just preface it by saying this. I was entertained, and at the end of the day, we go to the movies to be entertained. With that being said, there were a lot of things that I just didn't get about Birds of Prey, basically the Harley Quinn movie. Even when I went to the movie theater and I said, "Can I see Birds of Prey?" they were like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "The one with Harley Quinn," and they're like, oh, Harley Quinn, you want to see Harley Quinn? So you could really tell by the evolution of this movie and all the success that Harley Quinn has had that they really rebranded it so that people just thought it was the Harley Quinn movie. So diving into my thoughts on the movie, starting out with the positive, there were a lot of DC traits, attributes that I expected to see that they really hit the nail on the head with. The fact that it was dark, the fact that it was gritty, and any humor in it was kind of dark and made you feel kind of weird about laughing at it. To be honest, even the fact that it was rated R, even living in this PG-13 mainstream superhero era that we are in, DC to a lot of folks is just very dark, and so there's only an element of that you can represent in a PG-13 movie, but there's a whole underbelly to it that really needs that R rating to be conveyed. So as I said just a few moments ago, yes, I was entertained. There was action in the movie. The plot wasn't super predictable. They had good pacing and timing to the development. They introduced the characters nice. It jumped around a bit with telling kind of the origin stories of characters like Huntress, etc., but it didn't feel too jumpy. At no point did it ever get confusing, so I was ultimately satisfied with that. You know, they even did a good job representing a kind of unsung hero of DC, which is Harley Quinn. She's never been the center of attention. She's never gotten that spotlight. So her character is actually really interesting, and I'm glad that they decided to kind of morph the Birds of Prey movie to focus a little bit more on Harley Quinn. They even did a good job dancing around, you know, her being with the Joker without showing the Joker, as that's pretty much up in the air. Jared Leto is pretty much not Joker anymore, confirmed, and then will Joaquin Phoenix end up being the Joker? All the best guesses are saying yes right now. It's pretty much a no-brainer for DC. They have a hit with Joker and Joaquin Phoenix. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's where I want to get into a part of the movie that was a little confusing for me, if I'm being honest. Where does it fit in the DC universe, whether it's DC Dark, DC Vertigo, or the main DCEU? Now, I understand that the movie takes place in the main DCEU with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, but when you look at just how dark this movie got in some moments, it had no place in the proper main DCEU. It pretty much had the violence of a Deadpool, but not lighthearted. Like, Deadpool is that character who will joke about this crazy violence and dark themes that are going on. But Harley Quinn in this Birds of Prey movie, while she was a lighthearted character, the overall tone of the movie was so dark and gritty, grounded and realistic. It's just a tone too dark for the main DCEU. At which point, I can't help but wonder, are they trying to make a way for Joaquin Phoenix Joker to enter the main DCEU? Is that even possible? Well, we know that it is because of the CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, which we also covered here on this channel. We teamed up with our buddies over at the Lotta Quinte Ledger. Links will be down below. CW connected to the main DCEU, implying that all of this stuff is connected in one single multiverse, and then they rebooted it, which is going to give DC a sneaky little backdoor entrance to change and retcon some things that went wrong the first time around with the Justice League. Whether you want to say that's Jared Leto's Joker or Ben Affleck's Batman, all of those things can be changed now. There was a point in the movie where she referenced naming her hyena Bruce, and that really tripped me up for a good 30 seconds while I'm watching. I'm like, what Bruce Wayne is she talking about? Even the scenes with Joker were so quick that you couldn't really even get a grasp as to who they were trying to emulate, you know, from the side or from the back with this Joker character, whether it was Leto or Joaquin Phoenix. The way they presented it definitely left the door open for them to do whatever they want with Batman and Joker. Birds of Prey, to me, also strikes that perfect right down the middle tone, a shade darker than the main DCEU, but a little bit lighter than Joaquin Phoenix Joker world, allowing both to kind of merge into one, especially after this Crisis on Infinite Earths universal reboot. I mean, to be perfectly honest, all of this can't be a coincidence. I mean, do they expect us to think that they could make a crossover event that connects the DCEU, the multiverse in so many different ways, and then make a Birds of Prey movie that's right down the middle as far as tone between Joker and Justice League, and then not connect it all? I mean, honestly, guys, let me know in the comments. Of course, they haven't officially announced any of this, but you can see the writing on the walls. They're setting this up perfectly for Joaquin Phoenix Joker to enter the main DCEU, officially ousting Jared Leto as the Joker. I don't know what that's going to do for Harley Quinn. Even at the end of the Birds of Prey movie, as I'm sure you've seen because you're watching this review, she leaves the Birds of Prey, which makes sense because in the comics, I mean, she's not really in the Birds of Prey. She's a criminal. But that begs the question, where is Harley going to go? So I guess at the end of the day, for me, when it comes to this movie, was it an incredible movie? No, it was pretty good, though. The action was good, like I said. There was dark, gritty humor. It was truly DC, and Harley Quinn shined for sure. Was the story okay? I mean, yeah, it was good. It kept you guessing, but in no sense was it really groundbreaking. But what is the most significant thing about this movie, if you take away nothing else, is the movie's implications for the DCEU and even the multiverse at large as we know it. Birds of Prey sets up so many opportunities for Joaquin Phoenix Joker to come into the DCEU main. It sets up opportunities for the multiverse at large, and it also slightly darkens the tone for the DC universe overall. I guess the biggest question I would have coming out of this movie is, where does DC want to go with their tone? I mean, you have successes like Aquaman and Wonder Woman, which are both very light films, with Wonder Woman being a little darker, and then you have films like Joker and Birds of Prey, which are much, cannot say much enough, darker. You now have Joker and Birds of Prey versus Wonder Woman and Aquaman being two very different flavors of DC. Personally, I love the Wonder Woman movies. I'm on the Aquaman, and naturally with DC, I lean darker. So if I had to choose, it would definitely be for the darker flavor of DC. But hey guys, that's just me. I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments down below. I'll be hanging around the comment section to chat it up with you guys. What did you think of the movie? What do you think about those implications for the DCEU as a whole and even the multiverse? Let me know all that good stuff down below. Links to everything will also be in the description. If you're new here and you like talking about your favorite movies and TV shows, etc., consider hitting the subscribe button and even clicking the bell so you don't miss a single upload. A whole lot of good stuff. So all of it is here. Check it out. Also, if you're feeling awesome, check out our sister channel, the Lotta Quente Ledger. Like I said, links to everything will be down below. Thank you guys, really. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace!